my biggest, I guess, question mark would be the Giants drafting Kadarius Toney with the 20th overall pick.
Yeah.
Granted, I am a big, big, big Gator fan. I love Kadarius Toney. However, the Giants have a decent receiving core. So I think that they drafted him to be the spark on either third down or special teams because he was a punt returner and special teamer, slot receiver, and like a dynamic big playmaker. But to draft him in the first round, I think was a very big stretch because the Giants did need some additional help. They do need some better pass rush. They probably do need maybe another offensive lineman to solidify Daniel Jones's, uprightness or, him being safe in the pocket. Uprightness is not the right word I meant to use or phrase. Maybe the tight end position, because we all know that Evan Ingram isn't exactly producing. So Kadarius Toney is a big question mark. We all know that Kadarius Toney can be a very big playmaker. We do know that he is very shifty and that he can, light up a defense at any point in time with a mismatch and breakaway speed. But there are certain times, take it from a Gator fan, there are certain times where he tries to do a little bit too much that's unnecessary rather than go forward. Tries to be a little too flashy with his cuts and always tries to make a big play rather than go down, which caused a couple of turnovers this past season. Kadarius, don't get me wrong, like I said, he can change the dynamic of a game. But I just think that 20th pick for the New York Giants, knowing that they just signed Kenny Golladay, knowing that they have Slayton, knowing that they have what's this kid's name? Oh, Sterling Shepard. I didn't think it was necessary whatsoever. So I really do think that they're going to utilize him strictly for either wildcat, strict, sweep, jet sweeps, some kind of trickery. Joe Judge is not an idiot. That Giants front office is very positive. But if I had to put, a tack on the first round and put a question mark, it would probably be the Giants going with Toney first.
Okay, so I have his stats pulled up here. And mind you, he was a 4-year player with the Gators. So his first 3 years with the Gators are not that impressive because from the time that he was a freshman until he was a junior, he only had 50 catches for maybe around 500 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now in 2020, he did have a significantly better year. He had 70 receptions, 984 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So you could definitely say that he took a step upward in his senior year with the Gators. Now you compare that to some other wide receivers that were drafted in the first round just a couple hours ago. You look at Devontae Smith. So Devontae Smith had 117 receptions, almost 1,900 yards receiving, and 23 touchdowns with Alabama this year. Absolutely nuts.
Insane, bro.
Jamar Chase, sophomore in 2019 or junior. I forget whatever, it doesn't matter. But in 2019, he had 84 catches, 1,780 yards receiving, and 20 touchdowns. So you compare that with Kadarius Toney. Look, I think for me, the way that I kind of see it with Toney is that he's probably maybe a second, maybe a third rounder. I think with that pick in the first round, I think it was a little bit of a stretch, though. That's just me.
Agreed.
So
it wasn't like he wasn't going to be on the board next round, in my opinion.
Maybe you mentioned about the whole special teams aspects that he could bring to the team, basically like a spark player. This is probably an unfair comparison because they're completely two different players. I wonder if they kind of look at him as what Percy Harvin was back in the day. But the thing was with Percy Harvin was that Percy Harvin
was a utility player.
Percy Harvin was much more electric as far as I'm concerned. Don't get me wrong. Kadarius Toney has definitely taken leaps and bounds from where he was his first 3 years with the Gators. I think with what the Giants were maybe seeing with Toney, though, is something similar to what Percy Harvin provided when he came into the league. He was a very good utility player, could provide a spark, and he was pretty solid when it came to special teams. He had a great performance in Super Bowl 48 for the Seattle Seahawks against Denver. You got the kickoff return against the Broncos in the second half that pretty much blew the game open, and Seattle never looked back. So, look, when I look at this move with Kadarius Toney, I could definitely see it being a stretch, but I kind of understand the justification for why they did that, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants could use a lot of help on the offensive end in a lot of ways. Obviously, like we had previously said, Saquon coming back from an ACL, he's projected to come back by week 1. The addition of Kenny Golladay, Daniel Jones entering year 3. So, I mean, I really do think that they're trending in the right direction. But again, I stand by what I said. I don't think it was a necessary pick. I think they could have used this pick to do something different, something that was actually necessary. To draft a special teamer in the first round isn't exactly an important need. Granted, I mean, if he's going to pull a Devin Hester and he's going to run back kick return after kick return or have incredible punt return yardage average, good for them. But it's just a matter of, I think that was kind of like a desperation. Like, we need somebody electric now. And they went and they got him. I mean, if they really wanted a wide receiver, there was some other players on the board that you could have drafted. But, like I said, that's my only real hiccup and question mark.